speaking to Kristine Gerolaga.
Gerolaga, yes.
Gerolaga,
Yes.
who I'm going to date this interview because it's very important, because at some point we'll be seeing this project in the future. Or January 22nd, 2024. So you're fresh from the Screenwriters Labs with the project Lamok.
Yes.
One of a dozen selected projects from 4,000 submissions, which is just outstanding and crazy to think about.
Yeah.
So you're about a half dozen short film projects in, coming off Mosquito Lady. You do act in front of the camera. You're very well versed in the horror genre, but that doesn't define you. I think you touch comedy, you do drama as well. So it's like a buffet there in terms of genres for you. I wanted to get a sense of, is your last short sort of an extension, or is there a topical connection to this feature?
Absolutely. I would say, so it is a standalone story, although part of it is pulled from the feature version of it. Like there is a scene in the film where a character is going to meet him on an unknown and make that request.
But it's not proof of concept.
So it is.
Okay.
It is, but I did want it to make it feel like its own full story with a beginning, middle, and end, like a full experience for anyone who watches it. Instead of it feeling like, oh, there's more to this, and we wish we had that experience. And it's like, no, I do want it to feel like its own specific thing, but all the same things, different characters, but same themes.
Needle in the haystack type selection process. What did you get a sense, the advisors, there was a hook, line, and sinker for them? There's something that they gravitated, that they found on the page that they really connected with. What do you think is that kernel, that idea that they really responded well to?
Wow, that's a good question. You know, when I think about it, I just know that I wasn't the only person submitting, a project specifically about reproductive rights. You know, that's a really hot topic. But I would guess that it being a horror film, so that's a unique take, I would think, and also being specifically from the point of view of someone who is against abortion, someone who is cursed to become a fetus-eating creature in our folklore and have an arc because of that transformation. I would think that that's where they found a new spin on.
Yes, it's very counter.
Yeah, to commenting on this really horrible crisis that we're experiencing. So, I would think that's interested them further. Than
I like that angle.
Topic. Yeah.
So I want to say you already had early support for the project. They gave you a development fund, I believe.
Yes, so they, and this is a grant that I don't believe exists anymore. They did it for 2 years. It's called the Uprise Grant.
Yes.
And it was specifically for supporting filmmakers through the very early part of the pandemic, and making sure that they can continue making their art because so many people were impacted by the pandemic. And yeah, I was really, really fortunate to be nominated by a good friend and filmmaker, So Yun-moon, who gave me the opportunity to apply for this grant, and now I'm at this point in the process of making the film, which is really, really exciting.
And so I want to explore the project in terms of place, space, time. So I believe it takes place in the Philippines. So that logistically, that's a whole other set of conditions. I don't want to say nightmare conditions. They do have an industry over there, but it's a different ball game altogether.
Absolutely.
So how do you see yourself? I imagine you might have done scouting already.
I'm still in so early stages.
Okay.
So I haven't yet, but I mean that is the next plan, is to get a research trip going so that I can re-immerse myself. You know, I've gone a few times with my family in the past, and now I really want to go and do this on behalf of the project, and also visit family out there and like just really get a sense of like all the locations that I'm trying to use in my film, and even film or locations that I hadn't considered.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, so it's really exciting. It's a whole, like, I don't know why I keep doing this to myself, but just adding those extra challenges of like, yep, never filmed there, but I really, really want to do it.
So that trip could probably take place this year.
I'm hoping.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in terms of influences inside or outside of cinema, seeing that you are well versed in the horror genre, I imagine you have specific ideas that you might have collected. Like, what does your pitch deck look like?
On the side of things, when we're commenting on the, just like the terrifying state of reproductive rights, I mean, obviously here in the United States, but definitely in the Philippines, just stories of, I mean, if you look at the
harsh realities, yeah.
It's just insane how many people are going to prison for attempting abortion, how many people are going to prison for helping people get abortions, how many people are dying from these from abortions that are just unsafe. Like it's really, really messed up. Like, so looking at personal stories about that, and documentaries as well, and then on the cinema side of things, definitely influenced by movies like The Fly, La Llorona, which I thought was a really incredible, terrifying, and heartbreaking film as well, that I think just like speaks about the politics in that story in such a terrifying way, and the way that dictators can completely destroy the lives of the people that they're serving, that they're supposed to be serving. I also am so influenced by Mike Flanagan's work, love Midnight Mass. I mean, like, so those are the kinds of stories that I'm looking to for.
And in terms of a visual palette, I mean, there's so much that could go. You could spin this in many, many different types of directions.
Yeah.
What are some things, like, how do you outside? Because I imagine there's a social realism element to the film, potential film, but then there's a lot of fantasy elements as well. So that in itself is very daunting.
Very.
Yeah.
I think we really, for this project, want to make it as grounded and visceral, just as possible. So we're really excited to bring on the practical effects for this. That's something we tried with Mosquito Lady, the short film version, that I think is doing really well. It won Best Effects at Brooklyn Horror Film Fest, which was exciting for our team, especially our artist who worked on it, Melita Dow, also goes by Apple. That's the goal for the feature film, is to bring on those practical effects, make any visual effects as invisible and seamless as possible, so it just feels real and in the camera.
And feel free to not name anybody, but I imagine there's already people on board, part of the team behind the lines, producers and whatnot, or do you have some strong allies already?
So still early stages, but my longtime collaborators will definitely be a part of this. So we've got those people going, and now I think the next step is to find a really strong lead producer here in America, and then one that's based in the Philippines as well, who would be just the boots on the ground with us, making this thing happen.
How do you personally relate to what you put on paper?
Sure. Well, so back in 2015, 2016, I had started volunteering as a pro-choice clinic escort. So I was at the clinics, just helping people get from their cars to the clinic doors, just so they could get the services that they're seeking safely, because unfortunately there's always a lot of anti-choice protesters outside who are at times really aggressive in their tactics, sometimes violent in their tactics, shame and completely,
So you created a sort of not a buffer, but a protective layer, like a blanket around the person to get from one point to the other.
Yeah, just to show them that there was
compassion.
Support, like that, you know, that they're literally, and they may not even be there for a portion. You know, like these are people that are just trying to get health services that are completely their business and no one else's. And so sometimes they would opt not to be walked to the clinic with that support, and that's something we respected as well. It's just like we are there to support and make sure that there was that distance between, you know, that crowd and them just trying to get the services they needed. So after witnessing that and just like really seeing how strong beliefs can warp a person into dehumanizing others and even themselves, like in the name of like protecting life, that really just kind of influenced the story that I'm trying to tell with Lamok.
It was a pleasure speaking to you. Salamat, I believe is how we say it.
Salamat.
Salamat.
Yeah, really
congratulations on getting to the labs, and the best of luck in set. Horror is a fun genre because you can politicize a text. You can do so much within the horror genre, and so I'm looking forward to seeing how you do the flip side of the debate and
No, I
Lamok.
learned a lot about how to tackle that at the lab. So I'm really excited to get back into the rewrite. And
Yes.
I can't thank you enough for making time to speak today. So.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Hey, this is Eric from IONCINEMA.com. If you want to support us, subscribe below. For more reviews, interviews, film festival coverage from Sundance, Cannes, Toronto, you want to check out these guys on this side.